All right. John Livia, Serious Outcast. And I have a special guest today, Larry Mazza. What's up, Larry? How you doing, man?
Everything's good, my friend. Good to hear your voice again and do a little show.
Likewise. You and I, always kept in touch since the first time you did my podcast,
Yes.
Whatever, years ago. So I don't really do much of the mob stuff. I changed everything I do, mostly current events.
Good.
And then this NBA scandal came out where all these indictments, and you reached out to me, and I thought about it for a second. I'm like, you are the perfect person, literally the perfect person to talk to about this, because you come from the organized crime background, and you are a sports fanatic, and you have a website called Inside Straight where you are, I don't know, why don't you explain what it actually is?
Okay. Well, first of all, I was a bookmaker for, I didn't even know how many years until I went away. So being in the business, in the industry, I saw everything from the fixes to the, from races to sports and things like that. The refs that were betting. Pete Rose, I got some of his action. So what happened was when it became, I'll explain more about that. I saw your face light up.
Yeah, really? I was like, wow.
Well, now that it became legal, really, I was able to sort of come out of the shadows and use my expertise of all those years that I was in it to help people who are gambling, because they're gambling on FanDuel and DraftKings and everything.
Right.
So I've been handicapping. Is basically my best sport is college football. I'm good in baseball also. NFL, I've been really good the last 2 years. And the NFL is generally tough because, these underdogs come up and beat a big favorite just every now and then. But I've been good the last 2 years.
Okay, good.
He was my producer when I was working on, the book and the movies and all of that. He set up the site for me.
Okay.
What I ran into was, unless I can get on a show like Colin Cowherd or Mike, Mad Dog Russo,
right,
one of those guys, Stephen A., as a weekly guest, it's very hard to get a following. I did get a following, even without that. But they're fickle. What happens is they want games every single day. Now, sometimes there's just nothing really worth betting, and I'm not going to force it and make you lose money.
Right.
Or I may not get information. I get a lot of information, inside stuff. Okay. Because of the friends and people I know over the years, from Vegas to Costa Rica, you name it.
Right.
So I'll know who the wise guys are betting. Like that, there was a guy named what the hell was his name? Billy Walters was a well-known professional gambler. I used to get his information. So I knew who he's betting on Super Bowls and things like that. I may not get that till 20 minutes before the game.
Okay.
So I put it out, so what I did was I privatized it. Instead of me trying to have, 1,000 members, maybe I have 120. They understand better what they're getting, and I email them direct.
Okay.
So if they're out in their car, they'll get an email as opposed to having to go on the site every day.
Okay.
So it tweaked, but yes. And
okay.
I've been around this so long. Let me tell you this. I actually put a post out on, I don't know if you had a chance to read it.
I did. I took a look at it.
It might have helped you. Oh, good. Okay. So about 5 years ago, just before the pandemic, some of the agents from my case reached out to me when gambling was heading towards being legalized. They wanted me to do speeches in front of the athletic directors, in front of football coaches. Like they said, Bill Belichick is going to be there. They saw all these guys, owners, coaches, and they wanted to know as much about what can happen. And just in the first hour, they were just stunned. Their eyes were like, they couldn't believe what they were heading for.
Yeah. I mean, this is your livelihood,
Yeah. And I says, you know what? If you want to stay on another 3 hours, I'll just keep talking.
You there? You froze up on me. You there, Larry?
So
okay, there we go.
I think we're a little off here. Are you still there?
Yeah. Can you got me, or it's a little bit off, but you got me now? There you
You're
go.
back. Yeah.
Okay.
I guess going
All
live
right.
that can once in a while.
All
So
right.
yeah,
Let's
you're back.
let's
So anyway, like I said,
yeah.
I was on for an hour. I could have been on for 3 hours and
Oh,
just
okay.
kept
Yeah.
telling them
Yeah.
different things. And
Yeah.
the other thing I threw out to them too was, I says the first thing every team should do, just like they have a drug program, have a gambling program. Because
Yeah.
it's not if it's going to happen, it's when
It's
and how
way.
often.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Yeah.
what it seems like.
And I
All right.
said,
So
go ahead.
no, let's jump into the story. So, quickly for people who don't know who Larry Mazza is, as he just explained, he's an odds maker. He's been around bookmaking and sports his entire life, but he was also a former made member of the Colombo crime family, and so he is the perfect person to talk about this topic that we're going to talk about right now. I believe it was yesterday or it was Wednesdays. There were a major federal investigation, indictments, and arrests were made. That it looks like there's two moving parts here. It looks like there's two stories.
Yes.
It looks like there's two things that happen with the NBA, but they're not really overlapping. The media makes it sound like they're overlapping, but so the first part is apparently, there was and this is nothing new. But apparently there were these really, really big card games held in New York City, all over New York City, the five boroughs, and also held in the Hamptons. And Chauncey Phillips would sit in on these card games. And so supposedly, this is one part of the story. Chauncey Phillips would be used kind of like as a tool, if you will, by the Mafia. And they would bring in these whales. They would bring in guys who were very wealthy businessmen, doctors, lawyers who love to play cards. And because there's a famous NBA player in the card game, it would draw them in. And then the Mafia would actually rig the game against the whales. And supposedly how they would do it is they had a machine that would deal the cards. And in this machine, the machine would actually be able to deal the cards who they want to. And then I believe it was an app that was actually reporting back to someone's cell phone that was able to tell them from the machine that who got what card.
Also, let me add one thing very important. The table was an X-ray table.
Really?
So they were able to see the hands down cards from underneath the table.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So Chauncey Phillips, and I'm sure, I mean, as of right now, all we know is that he's arrested. I'm sure he knew about it, but supposedly over the last 10 years or so, he has been able to make the Mafia over $7 million. This is the number we're getting from the FBI. Okay. So that's one part of the story. The other part of the story is about professional basketball players, specifically Terry Rozier, who actually faked an injury so that friends of his could bet on whether it's point, shit. I don't know exactly, but they would actually bet against the team knowing that he's not going to be in the game and they could win. Okay, so.
Well, narrow that down to props. And if you want, I'll explain that.
Okay, yeah. So those are the two moving parts.
Yeah.
So why don't you go into the NBA part? That's what I really want you to delve into.
Here, I'll give a perfect example. If Michael Jordan is playing a game, everybody knows Michael Jordan or Larry Bird.
Right.
And let's say the under-over
you froze up on me there again. We're having some technical difficulties.
In the game, your bets. Now he's not gonna. If he gets hurt, he's not gonna hit 3 3-pointers. So that's an automatic cash, and that's in the rules. Once the guy steps on that court, the bet is official.
All right, Larry, I'm sorry. You froze up on me there for a second. Can you just say that again? I apologize.
Okay, I was using Larry Bird and Michael Jordan, for example.
Okay, go ahead.
Prop. Let's say the prop was how many 3-pointers they hit.
Okay.
Let's say it's 3.5, over or under. So they have to hit 4 3-pointers if you bet over, or 3 if you bet under. So he would have, and not them, I'm just using, an example. If they wanted to do what Chauncey Billups was doing, or those players, they would bet under, and 3 minutes into the game, sprain your ankle, and you're on the bench for the rest of the game. But once the game started, it's an official bet.
Okay.
So that made it easy for them. Bet under and get out of the game. And it happened 4 years ago to a Toronto player. Here's an important thing. That Toronto player, it seems like he acted on his own, him and maybe some friends. So the NBA they banned him for life. It didn't become this big racketeering indictment. But now this one is because the Italian names that came up and they hooked it up with the mob somehow. So they're all going to get limelight. Theoretically, they should just be suspended because gambling isn't illegal. Fixing the games are, So I get that. I'm not saying, but this is a bigger deal, of course. But one thing I want to add is one of the families, and I'm actually ashamed, the Colombo family wasn't in on it.
That's right. They were the only family that wasn't. Yes.
Yeah.
They were only a family that. Let's. I want to do the Mafia part second. But I really want to stay on the NBA part because I have all the names that were indicted from the Italians from the card game and so on and so forth.
Yep.
Now here's the question. So they arrest Terry Rozier, he has made over $100 million in the NBA, and he's making $26 million a year as of right now. And he plays for the Miami Heat. He's a guard, right? So he plays for the Heat, right? Miami Heat?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Here's the big question. Why would a guy who makes $26 million a year want to possibly hurt his career by helping a friend? Yeah, by risking his career, by helping a friend. I believe the number was 200,000, making 200,000. And I've been trying to basically brainstorm why this NBA player would do this, and I think it comes down to one of three reasons. But I want you first, and I want you because you.
All right, I'm going to give you my opinion.
Yeah.
Okay. It comes down to ethics and character. And before I go on, so they know I'm not slandering anybody. If I was in college basketball, I was a good basketball player, very good, but I was never going to make it anywhere. But if I had been on a college team, 5'11", great ball handler, could make great passes, could shoot the ball from the outside real good where they play zone, the NBA is all man to man. And I knew I am not going to the next level to make millions. That to me is me. If I'm on Rutgers and we're 18-point favorite over Columbia, and I know I can get, especially now with all the apps and everything and all the places to play, if I knew I could bet Columbia, I might have done it.
Oh, yeah. Right. That makes sense.
Because it's my opportunity. Okay, right. So what I'm leading to, it's ethics and character. So
now we have a bad connection. I was hoping that this would not happen.
If I was, it's catching up, I think. All right, caught up. Yeah,
there we go.
Once in a while, but I know where we were.
Okay.
And obviously I had that something in my blood that would go that way as I went into a corrupt life.
Obviously.
So yeah. So I but my father, a fireman, would never ever do something like that.
Okay.
So Peyton Manning, Mahomes, Tom Brady, I don't think they would ever do it.
Okay.
The NBA, and this is where it's going to be a little, some people not going to like what I'm going to say, the ethics and the character, you see the way these players are today.
Yes.
They feel entitled.
Yeah, very.
Just like in the real world right now. Certain people feel entitled. So they think, they have entourages. So even though they're making $20 million, they want their entourage all to drive, Bentleys also.
Yes, that was one of the reasons I came up with too. Yes,
so
you're right.
Basically, they're, how do you say it? They're not smart enough to
Yeah.
understand the ramifications of what they're doing.
Well,
They're
if
good
you've
at what
been
they
in,
do.
yeah,
They're great basketball players, but you know,
if you've been entitled your entire life, it's like a child. If
yeah.
you've been entitled to your entire life as a child, and then finally somebody punches you in the face because you spoke out, right? And you're
Mhm.
20 years old now, you're like, I can't believe you just did that to me. It's like,
Mhm.
what are you doing? I usually could say whatever I want. It's just this entitlement. So the three things, and yes, you tied into the third thing, which is probably the most reasonable thing, a reason why they do it. The first thing they do it is, gambling can be an addiction. Okay.
Yes.
So it's possible this guy has a gambling addiction. It's very possible. The second reason could be that addiction could have led him to be in the claws of some not nice people. It doesn't necessarily have to be the mafia with Terry Rozier. It could be the Mexican mafia. It could be anybody where he maybe was in a card game.
Right.
It could be anybody. And now they have their claws in them and they're going to use them and push him and squeeze him. That's a possibility. The third
And
possibility.
that's happened in the past. That's happened a lot.
100%.
The referee in the 90s was that way. Henry Hill in the 80s was that way. Found players that were in trouble. Yeah.
Right. So that's very possible. The third thing, which I think is probably the most, which probably is the case, and I experienced this firsthand this weekend, and I'll explain what I mean. Terry Rozier he's about 30 years old. He's still a very young man, and he's been making a lot of money for a long time. And a lot of times when you're the guy that makes it, there's sometimes you feel obligated that you have to help out the guys, your friends, your boys that didn't make it, right? It could, you could, and I've seen this firsthand. Like for example, I went to dinner this weekend with Lee Priest. I don't know if you know who Lee Priest is. He's a very famous bodybuilder, and he had 10 people.
I heard the name.
Extremely famous bodybuilder. He's still able to. He makes a lot of money touring and seminars, and him and I have become very friendly, just like you and me, only on my other channel. So we all went out. I'm sorry.
No, we're freezing up. I think I saw pictures of you with him.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And we all went out to dinner, and then the bill came, and he had his friends with him. The bill came, and the only two people that wanted to put in for the bill was me and him. Everybody else knew that he was going to pay, and he had no problem paying, right? But you have these people that they've known forever, and they just leech off them. And I think this might be a possibility of what happens on a grander scale. You have these people that you've known forever. You made it, and it's like, hey, well, fucking throw me a bone here, dude. I've known you since I'm 6 years old, or whatever the case may be. It might be a little, it might be a little cultural too. I mean, let's not, because you had the Michael Vick thing years ago, right?
Yeah. The other thing is just beating the system.
I didn't even think of that. Yes.
Some people just, I don't want to say get off.
Yes, they love to beat the system.
It's like in our day, we really needed to use fake tokens in the bridge when it was 75.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that could very well be. Yes.
Now the credit cards, that was bigger, more lucrative.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, and you're 100% right because
I used to tell Greg, why are you using a fake credit card for a $100 meal? I said, you're going to get pinched for $100, and he would tell me the food tastes better. When it's free.
You're 100% right. That could very well be it.
So that's part of it too.
Yeah. It could be one of those reasons, or it could be a combination of everything. The other now this just opens up a whole can of worms. Now, Cash Patel in the statement he said yesterday is that this is ongoing. This is just the first. So, do you think there were other NBA players that are going to be taken down, especially big names?
Listen, I have no doubt in all the sports, once it became as legal and easy to bet, a lot's going on. Okay.
Right.
But it's like the horse races. People say the races are fake. They're not. There's a lot of money in the races. There's a lot of ethical people in games that, like I said, these guys are making big money and have the sense to blow that. They're not going to do it. There's always going to be a handful. But here, I think I put in my article today, the guy that puts out the injury report, he could put out a false report. He may know Tom Brady's ankle is horrible, and he ain't getting on the field. but he'll say he's probably going to play. So the line says he's playing. Okay, that's one way. That deflate gate. Remember deflate when they deflated the football?
Yes.
Did somebody check to see if they bet over the receiver's receptions? Because it's a lot easier to catch a soft ball. You
Right.
know, when a guy doesn't goes for a field goal at the end when he should just run out the clock, and it matters to the over/under on how many field goals, or if they laid 7.5 and they're up by 7, they kick a field goal. If that field goal gets blocked and they return it for a touchdown, but they kick the field goal. And I said, why the hell did they do that? So all those things. How about the national anthem? One of the props is how long the national anthem is going to be. Typically, it's around 1 minute and 30 seconds.
Okay.
So if I'm singing that national anthem, I'm going to bet over, and I'm going to hold that last note, if I'm a professional, for 15 seconds.
That's unbelievable.
How about the Gatorade? Somebody knows the color.
Oh my! Did they really?
And you could bet on the color of the Gatorade. That's going to be poured on the coach's head. Somebody filled that up.
That's
Also,
unbelievable that you could bet on it.
I never liked when we were taking action.
Sorry, guys, just be patient. It's just freezing up. So we have a bad reception.
We're back.
Okay, there you go.
I hated the Academy Awards because you could bet who's going to win the best picture, and you could bet best actor and all of this. They voted for it. Somebody knows the answer.
Yeah. So
if I'm voting, it's even like the MVP. You got 30 sportscasters, or 31. No, I think it's 30 that vote on who's going to be the MVP. These guys are talking to each other.
Right.
They could go bet Ohtani, or they can go bet, and right now, like, there's a big thing between Judge and Raleigh. Who's going to win the MVP?
Okay.
Somebody knows. They know who's voting.
Right.
Now, if 12 of those writers are less than 100% ethical and honest, that's a big edge.
Yeah, right.
There's so many ways.
So now, can you explain? Because I just learned this terminology. Can you explain tanking in sports? Have you heard this terminology before?
Well, I probably noticed something else, but it's probably just taking a dive like a fighter.
Yeah, it says teams may field uncompetitive lineups to secure a high draft pick in the next season. Practice most common in closed North American leagues. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I do, and I watch for that at the end of the season. I'll know a team that I think may want the first pick, especially if it's again a guy like Peyton Manning. So they say, why should we win this game? What do we have to gain? But it's reflected in the point spread. That's knowledge. Okay. And still, the ball could bounce the wrong way. Some guy can still play horrible on the other team. So if in that case, where the line would normally be, let's say 7, it may be 12 or 13 now because of what you just said. So that's not outright cheating, but it's borderline unethical because you're supposed to try to win every.
And here's another thing. I looked up this. Can you see this? Let me see if I could. I'm going to share this chart with you. Okay. Can you see this chart? Okay. This is the chart of.
Yes.
Okay. This is a chart of the NBA final ratings chart over since 2002 to 2024. Okay, and you could see how basically it's been on the decline, how the ratings have been on the decline. And the NBA, for some reason, has been on a massive decline. They had a little bit of a spike here in 2020, obviously because of COVID and everybody was home watching the game. But generally, it's been on a massive spike here, right? This can't be good for the ratings for the NBA.
No, this isn't going to help. But I can't watch an NBA game, okay? First of all, they turn the ball over when they dribble. Why are they allowed to do that? Second, they take 3 steps to dunk the ball. They're already 7 feet. You got to take a third step to dunk the ball, and they get away with it. They stay in the, there's too many rules that are not enforced. There's no more pick and rolls in the game. There's no more give and goes. There's no more I shouldn't say no more, but like in the day when Magic and Bird were playing, you saw great passes. You saw defense. It's just it's just not a good game. It's not entertaining to watch them go up and down the court and dunk or throw up a 3-pointer. It's like there's no strategy left. I won't watch one. The last game, and here's the other thing. The last game I went to, it was in the Orlando Magic. They were playing the Denver Nuggets. I stayed at the same hotel the players stayed at. It's called the Grand Bohemian, nice place. And we were outside after the game. I got back as the bus pulled up.
Sorry, be patient, guys. It'll come back. There we go.
I'm back. Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
So the kids are waiting there. The kids are waiting to get autographs. These players come off with black glasses on, headphones, and they look straight ahead. They walk from the bus. They don't even want to look and acknowledge the fans that are making them millionaires. And bunch of them were kids. The only person to stop and give an autograph was the coach.
Really?
The only person. And I said, know what?
Yeah.
I'll never watch these bums again. And I hated the game. It was the most boring game. It's just boring. College basketball is a little different. You can still play zone. Kids play hard. They play defense. There's strategy. There's full court presses. It's what I grew up in. When I was coaching basketball, I used the same defense Rick Pitino used. 1-2, 1-1. And you pressing the whole kids. You won't see me in any of those games.
No, it is clearly tanking. And this isn't going to help. This isn't going to help. And I always loved boxing. I was a huge boxing fan forever, and I just couldn't take the bad calls and the fixing of the games. I don't know. I don't call it fixing the games, but you watch a fight. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, that guy clearly won. And they give it to the other guy for whatever reason. And then it just, after some time, you get turned off. You go, I'm not watching this anymore.
Yeah. Here's another thing that came up from a friend of mine, Colin, who was onto something that was happening with the UFC. There's a prop that you can bet that it's not a unanimous decision. Okay?
Okay.
There's three judges. It looks like nobody got indicted or anything, but it looks like the judges had a deal. Okay? They didn't change the outcome. Let's say, John Smith clearly won the fight. First judge comes up, 115, 111, John Smith. Next guy comes up, 117, 110, John Smith. Next guy, they cashed on that prop. What part did you hear up to there?
All right, the second judge, the third judge.
Yeah. So the second judge, they both have the right winner. The third judge votes the other 113, 112. So they didn't change the outcome, but they cashed on the prop. Yes or no? No, it won't be a unanimous decision. When clearly it should be.
I can't even believe you could bet on these things.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
That's when I was consulting in Costa, I still do with somebody offshore sports books in Costa Rica. I told them eliminate these props or minimize them. Do some game props, but not player props. Now you know what you could bet: live in-game props. The game's halfway through, and you can still bet on a play to do something. It's just gotten out of hand, and that's the industry's fault. But the more you
and if it's happening, if this is happening in the NBA, it's guaranteed it's happening in the NHL and the NFL and the Major League Baseball.
and there's all levels. Well, look, Pete Rose was gambling, and I mentioned before, we had gotten his action through a bookmaker in Staten Island, and we watched closely. He never bet against himself. If he did, we would have followed him. If he's betting against himself, he's not going to. He's going to try to lose. He never did that.
So
we had a referee in the 90s. I'm sorry.
No. Go ahead.
That was reffing only Ivy League games in football. We were 14-0. Remember, we knew who he was betting.
Right.
Right.
And so this is not anything new.
No, it's just more widespread. It's more under the microscope. But again, I would say it's happening in all sports, but certain sports less than others. Well, did you see when the guy dropped the football going in the goal line, when he dropped the football before he scored at the 1 yard line?
No.
The first thing I thought, he was running, he just ran 90 yards for a touchdown, a kickoff return. He drops the ball at the 1 yard line. The defender picks it up. He didn't score a touchdown. So my first thought, because I had that mind under.
Right. Sorry, guys. It freezes up. We have bad reception, but Larry comes back. There he is. He's back.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Yeah, we could try it. So as soon as he made that bonehead play, my first reaction was he bet himself under. I didn't. Everybody right away they want to say he's a dumb whatever. But no, he may not be dumb.
Right.
He may be real smart and knows he has 100K on not scoring a touchdown.
Right.
Maybe that's all he does is return kicks. And, it's easy not to score a touchdown, but it's
unfortunate because people really love sports. And people really, I mean, it's probably the biggest distraction from life for most men in the country. And it is so unfortunate that people like this, it can ruin it. I want to segue into the second. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Larry.
Let me say one more thing. I want to bring up horse racing. Like people always, like I mentioned it before, they always think it's fixed. It's not that easy. Okay. There's cameras everywhere. There's judges at each corner. There's judges watching the horses go in. They check the horses before and after the race. There's enough money in the purses that you could make a fortune being in horse racing. And for a jockey to literally fix a race and ruin his career, there's too much. There's, like I said, there's cameras, there's judges. That being said, and plus all the jockeys in the race aren't dear friends. It's like any other business. They're not great. So because I tell another jockey, hey, look, let's do this together. He may get right on the phone and say, this guy wants me to fix a race. So it's the same thing. So it's not that easy. But that being said, like when I was in the harness racing, we might have had 4 drivers in the race that were our friend, and 4 that we really didn't talk to. So if we talked a little bit, and one of them said, I can't win this race, or I'll be happy to get third. That makes me a little stronger. And I'm not allowed to bet against my horse. If I do that, I'm out of horse racing. I could bet on my horse, in that race. So there was a time, and I'm not going to mention any names. Well, actually, one of them's dead, the driver now anyway. But we were putting a big bet on our horse. Okay? We knew we had a great shot to win. There was another driver. I could say it now because, like I said, he passed away. Mike Gagliotti. Of course, he was Italian.
Yeah.
He was a dear friend. He knew we were betting big. He had the horse to beat. If we beat him, we knew we could win the race.
Okay.
So he told us, I'll sit behind you. He says, if you got the race won, I'll be happy with second. Because he knew we would put a sizable bet. And he probably followed suit. Coming to the top of the stretch, we were in prime position, ready, just pulled to the outside to start running past the first horse. It was perfect. We were going to win. Our horse goes off stride.
Really?
It's a trotter. Sometimes that happens. They lose their gait.
Right.
And
This is rough, guys. Sorry, it's bad reception, but hopefully, he'll be back. Larry will be back. It takes a second or two, and then it comes back. I don't know why we're having bad reception today, but basically, Larry's telling a story about how, he when he was in the life. There we go. Are you back? Not yet. So he was telling a story about when he was in the life and how he had fixed a horse race.
Larry, we were just turned off. I'm not on again. I'm not on right now. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. Yeah.
All right. My picture didn't come up, which is all right. We're having a bit. Listen, we may have to do this again.
All right.
Only because when you take a look, I know it's live now, but the people, they may be a little upset that we keep going in and out. I mean, it's not our fault. There's nothing we can do.
Can you, are you okay talk? Because it sounds like you're talking. It's fine.
Yeah. That's fine. My picture's just not there. I don't know why. I don't know what happened to it.
All right. So we'll just pretend like you're in the witness protection program or something.
Yeah. No, there's just a blank there. But William Grant just sent some teams tank to get a better draft pick. The NFL does it all the time. Yeah. I mean, again, that's not really tanking. Well, it is. It's not really outright cheating.
Right.
If it's knowledge, it's a position, it's a strategy. I would use that in my handicapping. But again, it's going to be reflected in the point spread. So that's not the same as Chauncey Billups telling his player, hurt your ankle and don't shoot three-pointers. That's a big difference. Okay. Yeah.
So let's segue into these card games. Apparently, there's a huge card games controlled by the Mafia, and they're also rigged. And I explained before, basically, they were using I believe it was Chauncey Billups, who was basically used as like a magnet for big whales to come and play cards with big NBA stars and so on and so forth. And the Mafia would use these guys to bring whales in, very wealthy businessmen, very wealthy doctors, lawyers, you name it, whatever the case is, to play. Oh, there you are. To play a huge, I mean, from what I understand, these were $10,000, $20,000 buy-in poker games, which happens all over New York City. From what I understand, New York City has a huge underground poker and gambling rinks. And from what I understand now, it is probably the number one way the Italian Mafia makes money today, because it is, it's looked at as a harmless vice, if you will, playing cards.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. Judges play those games.
Yeah, it's so they make good money. The rigging it is one thing, but it's already illegal to begin with. But so here and the majority of the information, I just want to give a quick shout out because the majority of the information I got from Jeff Nadeau, who has to sit down. He does an excellent job at researching this stuff. So you might know some of these guys. Some of these guys are old school guys, have been around a long time, and some of these guys are very young. So here are the guys that were arrested because of the rigged games. So the first name is Joseph Lani. You probably remember Joseph Lani. He's a captain in the Gambino family. Do you remember?
I really remember the name, to be honest.
All right. I think he's in his late 50s, early 60s at this point. Another guy. Most of these guys are younger. Joseph Lani is maybe a little bit younger than you. Tommy Giulardo, they call him Tommy Juice. Tommy Giulardo was either a Lucchese soldier or an associate. I haven't figured it out whether he's a made member or not. Some people say that there's rumors floating around that he was chased out by 5 families. I'll get into him a little bit. Apparently, he is, a hothead and not very smart. So another guy, Ernie Aiello, who is a heavyweight in the Bonanno family. Apparently, he's the cousin of Michael Mancuso, and Michael is the boss of the Bonanno crime family. Lee Farmer, who is a Gambino soldier. He has a brother, Danny Farmer.
I remember the Farmers.
Okay. He's a big-time poker player. He enters into poker tournaments and so on and so forth. Here's a name that is Anthony Ruggiero Jr., John Gottlieb's best friend, Angelo Ruggiero. This is his son that was indicted.
But I know the name. I mean, I know of the father. Yeah.
There's a younger guy named Matthew Dodino. He's a Genovese soldier. They call him the wrestler because he wrestled in college or high school. Here's another name, Fat Nick Minucci. You remember him from Howard Beach? The guy who beat up. Well, if I tell you the story, you probably back in 2006, he beat up a black kid with a baseball bat for stealing cars in Howard Beach.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember. Yeah. He was indicted. Another name was Well, I think is that it? Okay. Yeah, those are all the names
Well,
that.
let me. Here's my. I got to throw this out there.
Go
And
ahead.
this is something I've always said. Why, if you have a steady game, $10,000 and $20,000,
Yeah,
you know what the rake is if you got that game going like for 8 hours?
I have no idea.
Well, it's usually, it's anywhere from 3 to 5% per pot.
Okay.
So you're going to have $50,000 pots, obviously.
Right. Yes.
Okay. So when the hand is over, let's say you're getting 5%. Let's just say that's easy to do the math. So 50, that's 2,500. Multiply that by a good game. If I remember right, will do 20, 30 hands, I want to say an hour. Maybe that's too much. Maybe it's whatever. But do the math. You're 2,500 a rake, even if it's 10 hands an hour. That's 25,000 an hour. Why do you got to cheat and make it even more illegal?
Yeah.
And make it it doesn't make sense. But that's the mentality again.
Right.
That greed, that beat the system. There's no reason to. It's like there was something else I wanted that I said, why would they have to? Like we said before, they're making so much money. Why do they have to do that? Why cheat? Oh, the lines maker in the 80s when I was doing it, and they're doing it now through robots. And Costa Rica has to be extremely careful. The guy that makes the line, okay, not on a Sunday, maybe, because people would know, like if Buffalo is at home against the Saints, they got to be 14-point favorite, somewhere around there. Okay. But college games, college basketball, especially if High Point is playing Austin, PA, who the hell's going to know what that point spread should be?
Right.
So if a line maker knows it should be, High Point should be minus 20 points. They're way better than Austin, PA. These are just names of colleges that most people don't know. And they put out 1.5, or maybe not that low, 10.5 or 12.5. They tell a syndicate, and they're so certain they're going to win in the long run. They hit a button, and it hits all the offshore sports books at the same time.
Really?
Yeah. And they're betting millions.
Unbelievable.
Because they don't want them to move the lines.
Right.
So they hit a button, it hits hundreds, maybe 1,000 bookmakers, offshore.
Okay.
And they have like 6-7 points in their favor every one of those games.
Right.
And on a Saturday or Thursday or Tuesday night college basketball, there's about 120 games on the board. So all they need is to do 20 or 30 bad numbers, and they're going to win probably 75% of those bad number games.
Wow.
So, but I'm saying they have to find a way to cheat. It's greed.
Yeah. With the mob guys, that's there. It's like that story of the scorpion and the frog.
Mm-hmm.
And the frog says, "Well, why did you sting me?" And the scorpion says, "Well, I'm a scorpion." That's pretty much what it is. And Ira from Staten Island has a question for you.
Oh yeah.
So it is. What are the chances that made men involved were being greedy and hiding the card game proceeds from other made members and not kicking up?
Very big chance. I mean, we all did it.
Oh.
I would be sitting in the club with Greg Scarpa and maybe Greg Jr. at the time, and have a pile of money on the desk like this. As soon as the captain walked in, Scappy, he opened the drawer and threw the money in to hide it. And he took out a little, gave him a little envelope. Here's 2,000, Scap. So that goes on a lot. I'm sure they were kicking up something. So they didn't have problems within their own friends and everything. But absolutely, it's like, look at what Mike Francesi was doing years ago with the gas scam. He was kicking up, and don't quote me on amounts, but it was something like $1 million a week.
Yeah, it was insane money.
To Junior Persico.
Yeah.
And it wasn't enough. He demanded $2 million.
Yeah.
He made the poor guy run away. He caused him to flip. He says, "What the fuck? How much money do I got to give them?" So no, I would definitely believe they were kicking up, and had some kind of protection, especially because they were cheating.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's
Now,
a good question, Ira.
that is a good question because you don't think of it, but it's there's no honor among thieves,
No,
right?
there is.
You gotta, yeah.
That's a farce. Yeah.
Now,
Absolutely zero. And
now
very
here,
little ethics and very a lot of backstabbing and treachery.
I'm
That's
sure.
just the nature. It's how people move up and get ahead.
Now, speaking of which, this is actually really good. You'll actually get a kick out of this, Larry, because I'm sure you've seen this time and time again in your life. Now, was reported by Jeff Nadeau. Now, this is not fact. This is coming from his source. Okay,
Right.
how these guys got caught. This is actually really good. But I'm sure you've heard this time and time again. One of Jeff Nadeau's sources told him, Tommy Gilardo, they call this guy Tommy Juice. He's very young. He's like in his early 40s, right? He basically told him that he made it very easy for the FBI to look into him. And once they looked into him, then they started peeling back the layers. So what I mean by that is this kid had multiple bank accounts under his own name. One bank account had $500,000 in it, and he has no job, no way to make a living. He does not.
And he has no brains.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really.
Yeah. But it gets even better. So he had one bank account with over $500,000 and no job and no front, no nothing. He bought a Lambo SUV. He puts $100,000 down, and he's paying $5,000 a month on the nut every on the car payment every month with no job, with no viable way to make a living. And he
probably got $50,000 hubcaps too.
Yeah, right. And then he also has a G-Wagon, which is another $200,000 vehicle. And from what I understand, basically this guy was living the life lavishly, throwing money around, didn't care, couldn't show any income, and that was the in for the FBI to look into. And then once they started pulling back the layers, that was when they really started delving into the card games and so on and so forth and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I'm sure you've seen this time and time again.
Well, and somebody's likely going to make a deal and tell who else is involved and where else it's happening or whatever. So one of these people will make a deal. But we had a guy, actually a few guys, but this one funny one was Sal. They call him Sally Cash. He had a diamond bracelet, diamond necklace, Sally Cash. He had a wrist, Sally Cash, a ring, SC. I mean, everything said Sally Cash. Yeah. And then if we're in a situation somewhere and I say, Sally, you go to, he says, shh, don't use my name. I mean, I'm sorry, but maybe you want to take off your sign. You got a sign that says, So yeah, it's a lot. It's stupid. I mean, I'm going to give myself credit for that. I never had a bank account back then.
Yeah,
it was stupid. I mean, I was going to show? Anyway.
You would think, but today, that with all the technology and all the forensics and every way they could track you would think you would be a little bit more, careful. But apparently, from what I understand, and again, this is only rumor, he was the guy that they actually looked into, and he was the guy that actually led them to this big bust.
And if he's that type of person, it could have stemmed from maybe he had a big mouth, told the wrong person, or he abused somebody for money.
Oh, okay.
And they probably, because usually it takes a complaint of some kind. I don't know what would make them go look at his bank account. There had to be a reason. So,
well, he's been in trouble in the past for stupid reasons too. Apparently, he was dating a porno star. I think about 10 years ago, and the porno star, he must be, a little doozy bots, right? Yeah. Because the porno star had a restraining order against him, and he kept violating the restraining order. He kept going to chase this girl down, and then he started.
Then he got what he asked for. He got exactly what he's been asking for.
And then he started dating one of the mob wives, one of the girls on the show. I don't know who one of the girls are, but it looks like he likes to live lavishly and throw money around and not have and throw caution to the wind. That's what it looks like. Yeah. So, I mean, he might be the catalyst that started this whole thing. This is just rumor. Like I said, this is sources from Jeff Nadeau. But Jeff does a good job, and he usually is.
Yeah. Well, he probably is onto something. Yeah.
Yeah. But what kind of punishment do you really think these mob guys are going to get? If they're
well, the mob guys are probably going to get the worst punishment
okay,
because of who they are, and maybe they'll make it a racketeering.
right?
I would think the NBA guys are going to face a stiffer penalty from the NBA, and I put an over/under out on Chauncey Billups already. The over/under is 6 months
You mean
jail time.
suspended?
No,
Oh,
jail time.
jail time.
Yeah, I mean, which is a slap on the wrist after all that money. I would bet the under. But the mob guys, they're going to wind up having to cop out to something more significant or face racketeering, because that's what the publicity is. And I put in my post today. I'm most people think I'm like this heavy duty Republican, which I'm not. I'm an independent that just hates what the Democrats are doing today.
Yeah, I put myself in the same category. Right.
Go back in time. I really never hated Clinton or
Right.
But the way their party has been conducting themselves and the things they value, I am dead against them. So I'm a Cash Patel guy. I think he's going to be a good person for the borders and drugs and bad stuff.
Right.
I didn't like that. That it's become so sensationalized. Like it's this big mob thing. None of those names are Al Capone's or John Gotti's.
Right.
But he's going to, because it's the mob, it just sensationalized it.
Right.
And it's going to, reputation. It's like Giuliani was a great lawyer, whatever. Once he got lucky with the RICO thing and he destroyed the families, he became mayor, and maybe this is a way to build his reputation.
It could very well be.
It just seemed a little out of place for this to be so sensationalized.
Yeah, they tied it together, and they literally has no ties, with the exception that it both involves NBA players. But other than that, there's literally no tie. I don't know why they tied it together, but like you said, it's probably sensationalized. It's probably because it makes it a bigger deal, and stiffer penalties will happen.
I know we're getting close to finish. I wanted to say a little funny note.
Go right ahead.
I had two friends. The Orlando place is called the Kia Center. Okay. And I have two dear friends. One's a GM with a piece of a place, and another one is half owner of another Kia dealer, all in my area, and I'm very close friends with them. So they go to the games a lot. They were at the game last night, and they too stayed at the Grand Bohemian.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't allowed to leave the Grand Bohemian.
Really?
Because of all the police presence to arrest these guys. And I made a joke about it. I said, what do you think they're arresting Dillinger? Was Chauncey Billups going to shoot it out with them?
Yeah, right.
They closed the whole hotel. Nobody could leave their rooms. It's just funny. It's just
when they want to make a big deal over it, they do, and it gives them a lot more notoriety. It gives them a lot more attention. Makes Cash Patel look good. Yeah. One more topic. One more thing about this whole thing. Did you see what Stephen A. Smith said?
I seen a few things. The Trump.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why he went there.
I don't know why either.
And I like him.
Most of the time I do too. Yeah.
I like him. I sometimes maybe he just, again, they like to be controversial and get their names out there too. And again, I like him. I like most of the things he says. Most. I'm not so sure why he went that direction, but I think he took some flack because
he did.
It really doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't. And they asked Cash Patel, and Cash Patel says, Donald Trump doesn't tell me who to arrest. He goes, I make my own arrest.
He made a statement that may be the dumbest thing he's heard.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
I'm
not sure why he said that.
I don't know either.
Actually see the whole interview or whatever he did, the context of it, if that's
you're right. We might be taking it out of context. So that's the one part I did not research and look into.
There's no reason to make this political.
Right.
Really.
It's not. It's nothing political about this at all.
It's not like we know Chauncey Billups is a Democrat and I'm targeting him. We don't know any of that stuff. So maybe it's one little thing he probably regrets. Just like What's this? Reminds me of when that guy in Goodfellas went and bought a Cadillac after Luton's eyes. Yeah, exactly. And he told him, don't spend any money. And the idiot went and bought it, and
Yeah.
he wound up getting killed in the car with his girlfriend.
Yeah. You know, here's the long and short of it is, cheating has always happened in sports. I mean, you go back to the Black Sox, right? I think the 1990 World Series. I don't think it's ever going to stop. The NBA will probably take a hit because the ratings are already down. But I think it'll come back, especially if there is a new star. Like if LeBron leaves and there's a new star, LeBron doesn't seem to be helping.
No. Well, and it may stop others. It may stop, and it may teach a lesson to some of these less ethical character type people,
right?
To think twice about it when they say, "Hey, I'm making $20 million. I'm making $8 million, whatever it is."
Yeah.
How dare me risk that? My future, my family, my kids.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing is, the Mafia is still alive and well. They just have adapted to modern times. There's a no-kill law. They try not to be as physical as possible. They try to play under the radar, and they try to make money where it's just basically gambling, card games, nothing.
Yeah. The things that nobody cared about for 100 years,
right?
And I've argued with people about this, and not to get into the mob thing, but Paul Castellano, he was trying, from what John Gotti said. I mean, I wasn't there. I don't really know for a fact, but he was trying to legitimize and expand the family's horizons instead of being just thug drug dealers.
Right.
So maybe they're doing that now. Maybe like the Genovese family is setting the tone or setting the tempo, because they're probably the only family that has any respect today.
Well, I think it's the Genovese and the Gambinos. I understand the Gambinos are the Bonanno and the Colombo seem to be at the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, I know.
It seems to be at the bottom of the barrel.
Unfortunately, I know a lot of the guys from my day that are in positions, and even the transition that were in positions and now in jail. I mean, it's been a total spiral downhill for the people that are trying to run that ship. But yeah, then the Bonanos, they're not. I don't think they'll ever come back. The Lucchese's, I don't think will ever be strong again.
No.
But yeah, I do, because and basically, I heard who the leaders are of those two families, which I'm not even going to say. It doesn't matter. And I could be wrong because I'm not in the picture anymore. But the two guys that are, I think, have sense enough to maybe stay away from the things you just said, the murders and the beatings. Yeah. Try doing business and, just have rules. Don't let a guy lose $10,000 if he's a truck driver.
Right.
And you don't have to beat him up.
Yeah. Well, that seems to be what they're doing. They're trying to, right? But Larry,
listen.
Go ahead.
Anytime you want me back, anything in public, I know we don't want to do much. And the funny thing, I'm a little bit over telling my story too. I've told it so many times. I think everybody's heard it. There's been literally 10 million views. So it's nicer to talk about other things.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially you were the perfect person for this.
Thank you. I'm going to agree with you because, and not out of ego, but it's true. I mean, I don't know how many guys are out there now that were in the game as long as I was.
Yeah.
And I'm still in it as a consultant, and I love it. I love the gambling industry. So anytime anything comes up with that, you could call or whatever.
Thank you, Larry. Much love, much respect. Always, my friend.
Thank you. Can't wait to see you in Brooklyn someday.
All right, you got it. I'll talk to you soon.
Staten Island, wherever it is.
All right, later.
Have a great one.